The more spiritual I've become, and what I mean by spiritual is really just being more curious about why we are here and just asking more questions and knowing. And it's funny because I feel like the more I ask questions and the more information that I've gathered, especially in these last 3 or 4 years, I just feel like at this point now, the more that I know, it's like I know a lot of information and I feel like I have more wisdom, but I still feel like I know nothing. It's like, it's the weirdest, I don't even know what you would call it, but it's weird to me. And the reason why I feel like I don't know enough is because I always, when I get to an answer, I have 10 other questions. Like I'm just never satisfied. And I feel like, in a way, to me at least, that is what being spiritual is all about, is like you're always seeking answers and you're trying to understand about things about yourself, about what happens after you die, and so on and so forth, about God. The more spiritual I've become, the more lonelier I have felt, the more confused I have felt. The more spiritual I've become, the more connected I've become to myself, the less people I have around me, the less friends I have around me. And I don't think that is always bad. But it also doesn't mean that I'm never going to have, I'm going to be a loner for the rest of my life. It just feels like right now in my life, I'm going through a phase where, and I want other people to recognize this in themselves as well, where you might just disconnect from everybody. It's like your little, the strings that are attached to everybody. You just want to pull in a little bit and just hibernate for a while, for a year, however long you need to. And of course, don't just stay there forever, because that's a whole other, it's not that great to just stay by yourself forever, because we are beings of, we thrive in communities and we do need that. But I also feel like sometimes when you're trying to grow as a person and you're trying to be more connected to God and your purpose in your life, you might lose that connection to your friends, to your family members. Not forever, maybe just for a little while. And maybe you do disconnect from them forever, and that is fine as well, right? Trying to be a better version of yourself is not a straight happy path. There's a lot of pain that comes with it, because when you're trying to be the best version of yourself, for most of us, it's just what I believe at least, you're not going to fall back to your old patterns of, this is one of my patterns where, if I'm getting a bit anxious or I'm getting a bit worried, I would end up going to a bar and having a drink, or just at home having a bottle of wine. And I've realized that I cannot do that any longer, because that is not allowing me to break through into the next level. I am just going to remain stuck in this loop of having these emotions. I'm feeling too anxious and fearful of moving on, and I'm just going to stay stuck because alcohol relaxes me. So I stay comfortable in this level. I don't want to move up. And again, I'm not saying that alcohol is, I drink once in a while. I think there's nothing wrong with that. But when you use alcohol, drugs, weed, whatever it is, pills, so many other things that I can't even think about, food, as a clutch. So every time you're trying to push past to the next level, there's going to be some amount of pain, some amount of loneliness, some amount of fear, some amount of loss. And a lot of us don't want to go there. And I definitely stopped myself for a long, long time. And so this message is really for anyone out there who is maybe starting their spiritual journey. Maybe you're becoming more curious about what this life is. You're looking up what a near-death experience is, and you're trying to understand, and maybe you're realizing, wait, why are the friends and family members that I have, they don't want to talk about these things. They don't want to know about death, what happens after death. And they don't want to grow spiritually. Maybe they don't want to be connected to God or whatever those things are. And you're finding it a bit difficult to connect to them anymore because whatever you want to talk about, and be aware, because this is where your ego can come through and take over and make you think that, oh, well, I'm up here and I'm more aware and everybody else is, they're not really doing the work, so they're down there. No, that's not what I don't want you to think like that. This is more about you. It's you against you. And if people in your life right now are maybe people that are blowing your candle, they're not able to, and I heard this recently where it's like, you need people in your life where they see the beautiful light that is shining, and they need to see like, wow, look at your light. Look how beautiful it is. Instead of having people in your life that are going to blow it and they're not going to appreciate your light. And again, at the same time, not only people that appreciate your light, but also you appreciate their light and you are able to see their light and lift them up to greatness. So it's both ways. If you're feeling lonely, confused, unsure, uncertain, upset, angry at God, at your situation right now, and you're just trying to figure it out, and you're like, when is this going to get better? When am I going to, go to the next level? I just want you to know that you are exactly where you are meant to be. And sometimes where you're meant to be, let's say you're maybe in 10 years, you're meant to write a best-selling book, bestsellers book. And in order for you to get to write that book, you need experience. You need to go through some dark periods of your life. Like, let's say, for example, you have a $50,000 debt and you're paying for that as a single parent. At the same time, you are then working at Instacart and you're making whatever, $100 a day in order to pay that amount, and you're struggling and you're annoyed but you're still doing the work. You're still showing up. And that little experience, not that little, but I mean, it's a big experience. That experience then is going to go into that book. And that entire journey is meant to be in that book, which is meant to then help out thousands of other women out there. So you might be thinking, well, why am I going through this? Why is God punishing me? And not, trust me, I have those thoughts a lot. And I have to reframe that and know that a lot of those thoughts are coming from your inner child, because, your inner child is really they're trying to voice our opinions, and that have been suppressed for so long. And so it comes out in these waves of anger and frustration. And sometimes you're unable to see the ending of the movie when you're actually halfway through the movie. So you're still in the ups and downs and the ebbs and flows, and it's tough and it's good and it's bad. It's like, I know it's hard right now, but you are exactly where you're meant to be. And another thing I would also recommend is to pray to God and ask for help, ask for guidance, and to always know that regardless of where you are supported, you are guided, you are loved. And another thought that really helps me, to be honest, is thinking like, okay, in this lifetime, my soul, for whatever reason, chose to go through a divorce, to be a divorced mother, to have difficult parents, XYZ. And maybe in my previous lifetime, my soul chose to have an experience of loving parents, and that enabled me then to find my soulmate. And I was able to have 10 children, okay, that was a little bit wild, 5 children, and have a beautiful home. And I was able to do, maybe in that lifetime, I wanted to experience a loss. And so that's what I learned in that lifetime. But in this lifetime, my curriculum that I chose is very different. And that is okay. And I think that, to me personally, it brings me peace to know that, okay, this lifetime, these are the things that I've chosen, and it is okay. And maybe the couple that you are fantasizing about, and you're like, oh my God, why do they have everything? And they have an amazing family, and they have all the things, and I'm over here. And maybe in their last lifetime, they went through a lot of crap, and they dealt with that then. Now they're dealing with a different karma. And so I think when you look at it from a different lens, to me at least, and I'm not saying that you're not going to meet your soulmate or you're not going to have that amazing life. You are, but you're in a bit of a waiting period right now. There are some things that you need to show up for or pass, or maybe you're saying, hey, I want to be this person, but then at nighttime, you're out there scrolling on your phone for hours. Does that person align with the person who has a successful business making $10,000 a month? No, it doesn't, because that person is probably going to go to sleep at 9 p.m. And trust me, I struggle with this myself, so I totally understand. But I'm just saying it's important to analyze ourselves and realize what are our patterns, what are our behaviors, instead of just sitting and comparing other people's races to our race. It's not gonna add up. It's never gonna make sense to you. So just stop it. I'm gonna end the video here. I just want to thank each and every one of you for supporting me, for subscribing, I can't even speak, for just subscribing to my channel, for commenting, liking, even on my Instagram, all the support and all the new followers. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you so much, and I will see you guys on the next one.